Hey guys, in today's video we're going to be talking about mental illness. So let's get into it. Don't get me wrong, the internet is not the sole cause of the glorification of mental illnesses. Romeo and Juliet, that is being taught in schools as literature, encourages mental illnesses. I'm not going to really talk about that now because it's been talked about on the internet enough. And that happened centuries before the internet actually ever came to existence. Again, like in the recent past, that's like in the 90s, there was a whole phenomenon about the hierarchy of the most depressed. And that also happened before the age of the internet. So we can't solely blame the internet for the glorification of mental illnesses. A few decades ago, mental illnesses were seen as a terribly bad thing, in that anybody who was diagnosed was stigmatized and labeled as a mad person. But in recent times, that is 10 to 15 years ago, we began to see that mental illnesses were slowly being destigmatized and then were becoming well known and more accepted. All this was through a major and important factor that we can't forget: social media. Social media and the internet in general gave opportunities for campaigns for the awareness of mental illnesses. It helps people to be more vocal about their mental illnesses, therefore making other people with the same mental illnesses come out as having these mental illnesses. But as we all know, all good things on the internet come to an untimely end. Why? Just because it's the internet. Slowly, we began to see that social media began to blur the lines between what is original and what is not in mental illnesses. Don't get me wrong, because this same social media has helped a lot of people in coming out for having their mental illnesses. It has helped a lot of people to also take the right measures, that is like going to a therapist or something, all because of social media. But at the same time, we began to see the abuse and misuse of social media against mental illnesses. In fact, 10 to 15 years ago, we recorded the most reports of mental illnesses like forever, like since the world has begun. We've had the highest number of mental illnesses being reported. But then we mustn't forget that due to the fact that mental illnesses became more trendy and then much more acceptable and much more talked about on social media, it often led to wrong self-diagnosis. In that people with these mental illnesses come out as being depressed. What are the characteristics of being depressed? Being sad, being lazy, being this, and a lot of other factors. But then somebody being sad on the internet, because he has seen that sadness is also a factor of depression, they might believe that, oh, I'm depressed just because I'm sad, or oh, I don't feel like doing anything, then I might be depressed, or oh, I'm a bit nervous, I might have social anxiety. These are wrong self-diagnosis. Also, I want to make a quick disclaimer that don't say it unless you're sure you have it. Like, being clean and wanting to lay your bed every morning doesn't mean you have OCD. Like, being nervous doesn't mean you have anxiety. Being sad doesn't mean you're depressed, like I said before. Not wanting to eat all the time. Not all the time. Please, eat all the time. Not wanting to eat sometimes doesn't mean you're anorexic. So that's just, again, as I said, because these topics were much more talked about, it became trendy fast. And then in this world that we eat internet clout for breakfast, everybody wants to be trendy sometimes. Everybody wants to be trendy most times. So young and much more innocent-minded people that don't know the repercussions of their actions would want to hop on these trends, whatever it might be, even going as far as doing suicidal stuff, as was seen on TikTok very recently. So a lot of young and much more innocent-minded people were upping on the trend of mental illnesses, not really having these mental illnesses, but claiming to have them just because they were trending. Again, these trendy mental illness hashtags unknown to the creators, were being misrepresented by a lot of people. A celebrity coming out as having social anxiety might put the hashtag maybe, oh, social anxiety is killing me. But then somebody else on the internet who just sees this hashtag like that is being used by people who actually have social anxiety and all that just to raise awareness, they might see it and just be like, oh, this hashtag is trending. Seeing this hashtag as being trendy, they might want to post a picture and just add it like hashtag social anxiety is killing me. They want to do things that are related to this social anxiety just to trend also. Again, this misinterpretations that mental illness is a character trait, that is like depression is sadness and anxiety is nervousness, were often used by vulnerable they are not things by vulnerable teenagers. They were often used by vulnerable teenagers who often feel this characteristics. Amazing. Were often used by teenagers who feel these emotions regularly, wanting to seek a safe space, like where they can feel comfortable and not be judged. So they often felt that, oh, I feel sad sometimes, but my parents don't understand that. But this hashtag on Twitter, other people that use it also feel this pain like I do, also feel this sadness like I do, also feel this laziness like I do. So they want to join on these hashtags, and then this leads us to the people using these hashtags against these vulnerable youths. That is those people I like to call the therapists of Tumblr. The ones that will tell you, oh, drink water to cure your depression. You feel sad sometimes, put cucumber inside water and you'll be happy. What? Or when you're having a social anxiety attack or a panic attack, just count 1 to 10 and you'll be better. No. These mental illnesses are actual things that affect people's day-to-day lives. You now belittling it and saying that, oh, to cure depression, just drink water or just be happy. Why do you have to be sad all the time? You can make yourself happy. You're belittling and offending the people who actually suffer a great deal from these mental illnesses. These therapists of Tumblr would also often share their own experiences or in depression and how they cured it by doing all these measures that they have listed down for you to also carry out. Even all these factors doesn't mean that we can't, shouldn't, or even wouldn't talk about mental illnesses openly on social media. We just have to carefully draw the line between raising awareness and being relatable. Raising awareness is good as it's and is also beneficial, as is the reason that mental illness is even more acceptable today. But closely related to it, almost all the time we can't tell the differences between them, is trying to be relatable. Being relatable about a mental illness is a very terrible thing. Brands taking advantage of people with depression and putting depression on necklaces, or putting anxiety on necklaces, or producing t-shirts like, oh, my anxieties have anxieties, as we had seen in the Karina Cups merch of 2019. She has been slandered enough on the internet, so I'm not going to do any of that. So as I have said, try to avoid being relatable. But then if you want to talk about mental illnesses, endeavor to raise awareness and not be relatable. So with all this being said, what then can we do to stop the trendiness of mental illnesses? Nothing. So I just rambled on and on about mental illnesses, trendiness for 10 minutes straight with nothing to say. No, I'm going to be cheesy and I'll tell you guys that the change starts from you. Stop trying to be relatable about your mental illnesses. Don't carry out your self-diagnosis at home. Go to an actual therapist if you believe you have a mental illness. Get on your medications and, if needed, therapy.